name is Danish. I am a community relation manager at Cloudways. Here at Prepathon, we have a lineup of very good guest speakers who teach you how you can earn the next generation buyer. Uh, we also have some activities so you can interact in the comment section and you can win big prizes by interacting. Uh, the next section is about the power of emotion in e-commerce. Stop chasing conversion and start driving sales by Talia Wolf. So Talia Wolf is a founder and CEO of Get Uplift, conversion optimization agency. So she helps high growth B2B SaaS e-commerce publishers transform their customer journeys by creating emotionally resonant funnels uh, using a unique emotional targeting framework she developed. So welcome Talia to the Prepathon.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you. For our viewers, it is your chance to connect with Talia, ask questions, and see her presentation. And if you have any question related to uh, emotional journeys, how you can use it in your businesses, so you can ask questions, and Talia is here to answer your questions. So the stage is yours, Talia.
Thank you. I'm really excited to start sharing my methodology with you in order to start increasing conversions and really drive meaningful growth, especially as we head into Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and 2026. So I'm going to share my screen. All right. Let's get started. So, emotions before algorithms, a customer first strategy that wins customers. Let's dive straight in and talk about what the CRO process looks like. So, conversion optimization is all about optimizing your website and using the traffic that you already have in order to increase conversions. The thing about conversion optimization is that there is more or less a very simple process. You start by finding the leak, for example, with GA4, or if you're using Amplitude or Mixpanel, any other product to help you with your analytics. Then you need to create a new variation. Then you need to launch an experiment using all sorts of A/B testing tools, and then you need to analyze. And what's interesting about this process is that if you look at it, it is quite easy to find the leak in the funnel. It's quite easy to launch an experiment, and it's even easy to analyze the test. But the biggest black box and thing that people don't understand and don't know is what variation to create. It's absolutely wonderful that we've discovered that our product page needs to be optimized or our category pages need to be optimized. But how do we know what changes to make that will actually have an impact? And that's what I'm going to be talking about today. Because normally what happens is because we don't know what to test, we end up running very basic tests like this. We take a page, we duplicate it, we change the color of the call to action button, and we hope it increases conversions. It's what I like to call the deadly hamster wheel of optimization. It starts by us really testing random stuff. So you go into Google or Perplexity or ChatGPT and you ask it for best practices for your category page or for your pricing page or for a product page. And you copy all the stuff that LinkedIn gurus and blog posts tell you to do. But when that doesn't give you the results that you want, you move into the second part, and that is copying competitors. Now, we are all doing this. We think that our competitors know what they're doing. So we glance at their website and we start copying different elements. Unfortunately, what happens in that situation is that when you start copying your competitors, you end up sounding like everyone else. And so when your prospect comes to your website and they can see that you have a certain amount of features or that you answer a certain price, then they're left with not knowing the difference between you and your competitor because you look exactly the same. And so the next step in this deadly hamster wheel of optimization is actually throwing tools at the problem. We think, okay, if we just get an A/B testing tool, automation, personalization, if we get a landing page builder, if we move to a different CMS, we're constantly being told that these new tools are coming out, AI, and we have to use it. And so we spend a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of frustration onboarding all these tools. And in the end, when they're finally ready to launch, you then have to decide, okay, what am I going to do with these tools? What changes should I make on my landing page builder? What what tests should I run on the on my product page. And then what happens is you end up testing random stuff again. So we're really on this perpetual kind of hamster wheel. And what we need to do in order to increase conversions, in order to step off this hamster wheel, we have to step back from tactics and go back to the foundations. And here's what we need to know. The root of every conversion is a decision. How do people make decisions? How do they decide what to buy or not? We have somehow convinced ourselves over the years that the reason that we make decisions is how. I'm sorry, I can hear someone speaking in the background. Sorry, I can hear someone speaking in the background. So if we can just mute anyone, that would be very helpful. It's just a bit confusing. So this is how we think people make decisions. We think they go through this elaborate process of making a real, rational decision. We go through the pros and the cons, and then we finally reach this rational decision of whether to buy something or not. But really, psychologists, neuroscientists, and the biggest brands in the world know that this is not how people make decisions in life. This is every single decision we make in life is based on emotion, whether we want to admit it or not. In fact, an incredible study by Antonio Damasio uncovered something really incredible. So what he did is he ran a study on people who could not feel any emotion. They had some brain damage that basically they could go about their everyday lives as usual, but they could not feel any emotions. And what he discovered is that while they could live their lives pretty easily, they had one big problem. They couldn't make any decisions, not even what sandwich to get. And he determined that we're not thinking machines that feel, we are feeling machines that think. And this is crucial and critical. Now, a lot of times when I talk about this, people say, of course, in B2C, this makes sense. But just in case you're in the B2B sphere in this room, I want to shout out that yes, in B2B, emotions matter too. In fact, think of Google found recently that B2B purchasers are almost 50% more likely to buy a product or a service if they see personal value for themselves. And they're 8 times more likely to pay a premium for a product if they see personal value. So, companies are ignoring this everywhere, all the time. And why is this happening? Because we are collecting a lot of data. We have been told to be data driven all the time. But unfortunately, 82% of marketers have no confidence in their ability to use their data. And that's because we are collecting uninteresting data. When I ask my clients, our clients, who are your customers? These are usually the answers. We know their age, their geographical location, their job title, their gender. We know the browsers that they're using, the devices that they're using. And when I ask my clients or our students, why do people buy from you? The first answers that I get are around AI, technology, features, pricing. They're all about the product. This kind of data is completely about the product, about its features, about its pricing, and the data that we're collecting isn't helping us. And what happens is you end up speaking to the building, not the person inside. Now, at this point, you might say to me, but Talia, now we have AI. All I have to do is tell it to create something for me. So I'm with you, no problem. Just use AI. So I said, please outline a landing page for a well-known soda drink. This is what we're selling. It's only $14. It's 140 calories, multiple container options, glass, plastic, cans, sugar-free versions. And I mentioned all the different things that so many e-commerce brands mention on their product page. And AI, being what it is, said, oh, great, Talia, well done. Here's what you should do with your landing page and your product page. And it said, use a catchy headline, add a subtitle, use limited time promotions, highlight the key benefits, and that is your landing page. So that's what I did. I took everything that AI told me and I created this product page. Now, you will never ever see a landing page like this by Coca-Cola, right? You'll never see a landing page that says #1 soft drink in the world since 1886, 100% more carbonated, $2.66, 140 calories. It's just not done. And yet we're all out here on our shops, in our e-commerce stores, doing this stuff. And here's what you need to know. Almost every single search includes emotion. Here's an example. What's the simplest accounting software for a small business? Can I do my own accounting for a small business? This is a tool called Also Asked, and it's brilliant. What you do is you go inside, you get 5 credits for free, and you put in the main keyword people use to find your website, and it will tell you all the other keywords that people use to find your website. And what you'll see in here, and I used accounting software, but it could be for anything that you want, and it shows you all the other terms that people Google in addition to this. And what you'll see is a lot here is emotional about the fact that they don't want to do it themselves, that they're worried, that they have so many concerns and questions. And yet when you look at their landing pages of this industry, it says all your business on one platform, simple, efficient, affordable. Automate your invoice management today. Or my favorite, the UK's favorite tax filing software. It's all about the product. There's nothing in here about what we just looked at. And this is what websites are doing everywhere. We're ignoring the emotions, we're ignoring the people, and we're creating an emotional gap. Our prospects are asking themselves stuff like, can I do this myself? Can I stop worrying about this? How do I know this is for me? And our websites are all saying, we're an all-in-one platform, we're the number one solution, we're powered by AI. So let me be the first person to tell you, no one cares about what you're selling. What do they care about? They care about 2 very important emotions. Over the years, I've discovered with my team over 223 different psychological and emotional triggers that impact buying decisions. Now, it's never just one emotion, it's always clusters of emotion. And the 2 clusters of emotions that impact decisions the most and have a direct impact on whether people will buy from you or not are these. Self-image, how people want to feel about themselves after finding a solution. So when someone's buying from you, they want to feel effective, meaningful, they want to feel smart, they want to feel successful, they want to feel good about themselves. So when they buy from you, if your customers care about their self-image, all of your content on your product pages, your homepage, your category pages, your cart, everything should be around the desired outcome, which is their self-image. How are they going to feel about themselves after they find a solution, after they hire your product? Shopify does this pretty well. They don't sell, a software. They actually help you with the dream of entrepreneurship. You can be that entrepreneur. Your mum won't be your own customer. Don't worry. Lots of people are going to buy from you. So self-image is number 1. The second one is social image. How people want others to think about them after they buy a solution. So I'm buying something and I want other people to admire me. I want them to look up to me. I want them to be envious. I want them to see me as the go-to person in the office. I want them to love me, to appreciate me, to really see me. And that is an important cluster of emotions. And you need to be addressing it in your marketing. Back in the 70s, IBM said nobody ever got fired for buying IBM. Brilliant, because they know that when people make B2B decisions, they are emotional. There's a risk you could get fired for buying the wrong tool. So it's really interesting to see how you can use social image, self-image, how you can make sure that you're de-riskifying all the risks and actually aligning yourself with the emotions. So who are you actually selling to? How your prospects actually make buying decisions. Will people see me as the go-to? Will I feel more confident? Will I get a career advancement? Will I finally stop worrying about this? Will I get promoted? Will I feel better about myself? These are the questions that your customers, your prospects are asking themselves right now when they're coming to your e-stores, to your e-commerce stores. And you need to answer them. And we're going to do that with the emotional targeting framework, which is the framework, my proprietary framework that I built over 10 years ago, and I keep optimizing. And it's focused on uncovering your specific customers' emotions, what drives them to buy from you, and then optimizing your website with emotion so that they can see themselves, they can feel seen, and they'll want to buy from you. So let's quickly review. The go-to optimization process, which we discussed, was data analysis. First, you need to go into GA4, uncover the pages that need optimizing, and you go, okay, I need to increase my product page conversions. Then you create a new variation. So you come up with a list of changes that could optimize the product page, and you do that by Googling or asking ChatGPT. And then you launch an experiment. If your experiment increases conversions, success, great, wonderful. But if it doesn't, then you consider it a fail. With the emotional targeting framework, we do it differently. We do customer first research, meaning first we identify why people buy from you, the real emotions and the real motivators behind their decision-making process. Then we look at where the problem is happening in the funnel. Is it the product page, the category pages, the cart? Then we identify what's preventing people from actually taking action. Meaning, when we're armed with our insights, which I will talk about in a minute, of understanding why people buy from us, it's so much easier to look at a page and clearly see why it's not converting, because you're using the wrong stories, you're using the wrong messaging, you're using the wrong images, the social proof is irrelevant, you're using generic quotes and all sorts of stuff like that. So the second step is identifying why people don't convert. And then you launch an experiment that is a meaningful experiment based on your hypothesis. If you increase conversions, obviously success. But if you don't increase conversions, it's still a success because you learn from it. So ask yourself and answer in chat. I can't see it right now because chat isn't open for me, but I will look at it when I'm done. Where are you? Are you tactical or are you strategic in your A/B testing right now and your optimization? Tactical CRO focuses on increasing testing velocity, asks what should we test next? What elements can we change? It's driven by best practices and guesswork. It measures success based on uplift alone. If you're doing strategic CRO, you have a clear roadmap rooted in strategy. You leverage software to implement and test strategy. So you're not using it as a crutch. You're running experiments based on meaningful insights designed to solve problems on your website. So you're not just changing elements on the page, but when you do something, when you make a change on your page, it's because you're solving an actual problem that you've identified, and you answer critical questions about customers, business, and you're breaking silos, which means that when you're running a test or you're optimizing your shop, people from all over, from product, from marketing, from sales, are all coming together and learning from your tests. So just let me know in chat, where are you more? Are you more tactical? Are you more strategic? I'll take a look at the end. And let's get started with the emotional targeting framework. So we start with the research, define customers beyond behavioral data, and uncover why people buy. Here are the most important questions you need to answer. The top 3 challenges and pains people feel before converting. So how do they feel? What's getting in their way? What are they concerned about? What is ruining their day today before finding a solution? The main concerns and hesitations preventing people from taking action. So any roadblocks, hesitations, concerns, anything that might be blocking them from actually buying from you. The top 3 emotional outcomes your prospects desire. So how do they want to feel about themselves? How do they want other people to feel about them? What do they want on an emotional level? And the words and stories that your customers use to describe your solution and its value. I'm going to show you a quick case study, and I'm actually going to show you a B2B case study because I find that usually people have a very hard time accepting that emotion works in B2B. So it's a very good example. I will show you a lot of other examples of e-commerce, but it's just a cool way to look at it. So this is Strata, the identity orchestration company. They wanted us to optimize their website and campaigns so that they could appeal to the right buyers and reflected who they really were and where the company was going. Now, they have a brilliant product, really incredible. You don't actually have to understand what the product is in order to see the difference. I just wanted to show you what happens when you're collecting generic data and what happens when you go deeper and you run meaningful research. So we interviewed and we surveyed their customers. We conducted an emotional audit. We did a competitor analysis, and we conducted a UX and a heuristic design analysis. And we even did a voice of customer research. So basically combed through hundreds of conversations online, on Reddit, on Quora, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, to see what people think. And what we identified is that there's a hero in every company, that their job is to reduce tech debt and modernize non-standard apps without accepting risks. Again, don't need to understand this. It's very different than my client is an age 35 to 40. This is their job title. This is their income bracket. So we created a new variation, make modern identity work everywhere, build your identity fabric with strata, and everything on the page was about the customer. Replace your legacy IDP, extend MFA, make identity the easy part, get continuous identity access to your apps, consolidate IDPs. Everything in here, though not understandable, is really, really important for those people, creating content around their emotions and what they're trying to do, which is de-riskify anything that happens. Previously, their ads were multi-cloud identity fragmentation meet Strata's identity orchestration. That's a mouthful. Identity orchestration makes multi-cloud work. See how? Book a demo. Zero trust in a multi-cloud world is hard. Make identity secure on any cloud. We optimized their ads and said, securing non-standard apps is easier than you think. Win today's identity battles and become the hero your company needs. We even helped them write a billboard at one point. But the difference is big. So what do you actually need to do? You need to run customer interviews. You need to do customer surveys. You need to comb through Reddit, because I don't know if you know this and if you realize people are not on your website making decisions on whether they're going to buy from you or not. They are on Reddit. They are on LinkedIn. They are on Quora, on Facebook, making those decisions, having authentic conversations about you and your competitors. So you need to start combing through those conversations in order to understand where people are coming from, how they feel right now, how they want to feel, what's preventing them from converting. Next, you want to run a strategic CRO audit. So we all know that when we're auditing our website, we need to look at the GA4, we need to run a heuristic analysis, heat maps and recordings. We want to compare against best practices and maybe make a list of A/B tests. But what we're not doing is we need to do a strategic audit. A strategic audit is one that focuses on the messaging, on your positioning, on how customers see you, and if you are actually providing the information that they care about most on an emotional level. So there's a few questions that you can ask yourself. And I'm inviting you to maybe open up your homepage right now, because it's the easiest page to look at. And as I ask you these questions, ask yourself yes or no. All right. Question number one, are you making it about yourself or about the customer? So is everything in your copy, your content, your visuals, everything you describe about you or about your customers? For example, as I showed you before, the identity orchestration. Is it about you or is it about them? Second question, can prospects see their pains reflected in every step of the journey? This is one of the most critical questions to ask yourself. So this is Social Media Examiner. Social Media Examiner is a incredible conference for social media marketing, ran in Anaheim, in San Diego, in the States. And they hired us to help them sell more tickets to their conference. And the original sales page said, discover the best social media marketing techniques from the world's top experts. Yes, this is great that they get the best top experts to come and speak, but it doesn't highlight the pains that people feel when they come to their website. So what we did is we ran customer surveys, we did customer interviews, we did social listening and review mining, and we uncovered that these social media marketers are overwhelmed, tired, are really feeling like they can't make any decisions. They don't trust themselves. They're not sure that the people around them trust them, and they feel like they can't stay ahead of the curve. So we added copy to this page and said, look, this is designed for you, the marketing professional. If you're struggling to keep up with the ever-changing nature of social media marketing, imagine keeping up with important trends and knowing exactly how to successfully implement the latest techniques. Imagine having all the wisdom you need to support every marketing decision. Imagine having complete confidence with every strategy and tactic you present to your boss, colleagues, or clients. So again, are you actually highlighting the pains that your prospects feel when they come to your website? Can they see that you solve those pains for them? If they can't, that's a no, and that needs to be optimized. Are you highlighting the outcomes that prospects care about? So many times we make these promises which we think are what people want. So, for example, for this moving company, their original landing page said long distance moving with no hidden costs, because really people want to get a company that's going to move all their stuff, and they don't want to be bombarded with new pricing and suddenly find out it's double the price that they thought. But that is not the outcome. That is reducing stress. That's making you feel better and knowing that you can choose them. What is their actual goal? How do they actually want to feel? They want to take the stress out of their move. They are moving across state lines in America, and they want to reduce that stress. Those are the outcomes that helped us increase their conversions. Once we made it about what they really care about, that's what was able to help. So, are you highlighting outcomes you think people care about, or are they the outcomes that your customers care about? Do your colors, your UI, UX, and images all support and prove your message? So copy isn't enough. I've showed you a few examples of copy, but it's not just about copy. It's also about your design. If you say, this is the world's #1 posture trainer, and you have this person here, that's not enough. So Upright, which is an incredible product, it's this size, you place it on your back, and it vibrates anytime you slouch and reminds you to sit up straight. It's actually an incredible product. And what's really interesting about it is that when we did our research, what we uncovered, unsurprisingly, is that most of their audience are people who sit in front of their computer for 12 hours straight a day, working away. And though they do start the day out thinking, I want to work on my posture, I want to take away all my back pain and my shoulder pain, but as the day goes on, you forget and you start slouching. And there was also a lot of guilt. They felt guilty for not working on their actual posture. So we actually tested a new product page that said, transform your posture, eliminate pain, and build healthy habits that last. So this is going to last forever. And also used an image of someone that looks like them, that is doing something that they do on a daily basis, and connected that to the message. So it's not enough to just say, oh, we're going to solve all your problems, these are the outcomes that you want, but you have to make sure that you're pairing it with actual visuals that make sense. Can a prospect immediately see what action they need to take and what emotional outcome they will get? So, for example, with Upright, the original category page said, meet the Upright posture trainer, Upright Go, shop go to. This is just us telling them to buy something. But when we added, make your posture the one thing you don't have to think about, we relieved them of that pain. We know that you want to fix it. We know that you are worried about your posture, but you can't remember to fix it. Here's what you need to do. Shop now. We're pairing the action people need to take with the results. And that is critical for conversions. So you do your research, you run an audit, and then finally, you need to start running meaningful experiments and learn from every experiment and optimize with intent. Meaning, successful conversion optimization programs answer critical business and customer questions. They run experiments that inform the whole marketing strategy. So it's not just a nice tactic to have. Every time you run a test, someone can learn from it and use it for their emails, for all of your emails, actually, your ads, and anything that you're doing. And it can break silos between people. So you want to aim to solve problems with your experiments. You want to run emotion-based tests, which I'm going to give you a few examples. You're going to go beyond elements, think about layout, color, navigation throughout the site. Every element should resonate on an emotional level. And you want to assign additional metrics beyond conversion. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room. If you want to get cited in LLMs, which is what everyone's talking about, you need to solve their problem. So if you are now worried about the fact that you're not showing up in ChatGPT or Perplexity or any other LLM, if you want to do that and increase your conversions, you need to solve people's problems. SEMrush a few weeks ago found this incredible piece of data. 90% of times, LLMs will cite web pages that rank in positions 21 plus in organic search. So think about it. When you go into ChatGPT and you ask it a question and it gives you a link, chances are 90% of the time that link is from page number 21 and over in Google. And this happens because those are the pages that aren't optimized for SEO. Think about it. Pages 1, 2, and 3 are all optimized for SEO, keywords, and ranking. The people that are ranking on page 21 are people who created content that actually solves problems and answers questions. So if you're thinking about writing blog posts, sending emails, and driving conversions and sales from them, your number one goal is to solve their problems and create content that actually solves problems. You can do that once you understand what problems your customers are facing. So for example, instead of just writing an email about best budgeting software for startups, you could write how to tell if your burn rate is sustainable with unpredictable revenue. This is directly from specific pains that people feel. Instead of best employee engagement platforms, uncover why team morale is dropping when survey results look fine. Or top meditation apps 2025, how you still think, why you still feel anxious when even when you meditate daily. You can see the difference between creating content on your website, in your emails, in your blog posts, in your ads that's just generic and doesn't solve your customers' problems, and this kind of content that is geared towards their emotions. People, startups are worried about their burn rate, and managers are worried about team morale, and people who practice yoga and meditate daily want to decrease their stress. And if that's not happening, they have questions about that. So your goal is to run meaningful experiments and solve their problems doing so. Here's a really interesting example of teamwork.com, which is a project management solution. And their clients are actually teams that work with client work. So anyone like agencies, creative teams, anyone who faces clients and works of clients should use Teamwork. You could definitely use other products, but this was specifically designed for agencies. And their original menu said overview, features, platform add-ons, great. But what we wanted to do is create something that solves people's problems and actually run a meaningful test that will be conversational and help people see they've arrived in the right place. So we created a new menu and said, here's everything you need to know. And here's the features you need to run client work, actually calling it out that this is for companies that run client work. Then we said, here are the teams that love us. Here's what they use us for. Here's another case study for you to use. So what you see is that when I talk about running meaningful tests, it could even be on your menu or your navigation. The goal is to solve people's problems. So you run your research, you've identified, for example, that people can't immediately see that your product was built for them, was designed for them, is meant for people like them, then every single test that you run should be about that. Now, let me give you 2 emotion-based tests that you can run this month. So, well, actually, starting October. I can't believe it's the end of September already. So, emotion-based test number 1, pain versus desired emotional outcome. So the before and after. This is a really easy test. If you do not want to run an A/B test on your website, you can also do this via email. So you send one email about their current pains, how they're feeling, what they're struggling with, and another email about the desired outcomes, how they could feel, what the solutions are, where they could go, and see what people engage with more. Basecamp did this a while ago. We've been expecting you, hair on fire, buried under email, stuff everywhere. It was their original homepage. And then they have where it all comes together. We help small teams move faster and make progress. So this is a really cool example of current pain versus desired outcome. Then we have solution focused versus customer focused. So this is Upright. This is their original homepage. It says, get upright to improve your posture, shop healthy posture. Really interesting. Again, incredible product. But as I mentioned, we have different pains and different things we need to solve for people. So our new homepage that we tested for them was the simplest way to transform your posture, helping 750,000 people sit, stand, and feel better every day. Your poor posture isn't your fault, but there is something you can do about it. So again, taking away that blame and guilt that they're feeling. And you can see the difference between when you're focused on yourself, get upright to improve your posture. This is us, meet upright, the posture trainer, versus making it about the customer and actually making something that solves their specific problems. So I really highly recommend that you try it out. I'll leave you with these words. Conversion optimization isn't about changing elements on the page. If you really want to drive more sales this month, and especially during Black Friday, you need to understand that conversion optimization is about solving people's problems. And finally, remember that reality really does suck. And it's our job as marketers to create a better experience for them and really create something that people connect with, feel emotionally engaged with, and want to buy from. That's it from me today. Thank you so much. And
Uh,
hopefully this was good.
Thank you so much, Talia, for the incredible sessions, and I hope that our audience has a lot of takeaways that they can implement in their business. So I think we have few minutes left, so we can take some questions.
Yeah.
Uh, the first question that I have is from Libinesh. So it is about should we use ready-to-use CRMs or some custom flows tailored made for our needs?
I'm not sure I understood the question. Is it
Okay,
in the Q&A?
it is on the screen as well in the Q&A as well. So the
Oh,
question
to
is, yeah,
factor in all this, should we use ready-to-use CRMs or some customer flows tailor-made for our needs? I think it really depends on your tech stack. Honestly, I am not big on introducing new tools and trying to onboard new things, which are just going to cost you a lot of money and frustration. You need to use the tools that you already have in order to optimize your existing website.
all right. So we have another question from Lokesh, and he's asking how can AI agents could be leveraged in e-commerce platform?
So there's multiple ways that you can do that if you want to increase conversions. There are one of the things that I spoke about at the beginning is the type of research that we conduct in order to understand our customers' emotions. One of the things that we do is called social listening, meaning we comb through hundreds of conversations on Reddit, because that's where people are having conversations about your product, about your business, your industry. So for Upright, for example, we combed through it and we went through hundreds of reviews. And what we did is we put all that in ChatGPT and asked it to actually categorize things, all of these answers into pains and solutions. So what are all the pains that people are complaining about? What are all the solutions that people are looking for, desired outcomes that people are looking for? And then we started to bucket those into emotions. So honestly, like the best way to use AI isn't for writing copy, it's for helping you run better research.
Perfect. So we have some more questions left, but we are done with the time. Salia, you can interact with the audience in the Q&A session. Uh, the last question that I have is like, what is your overall final thought about Prepathon, and how would you sum up your overall experience?
Yeah, thank you. It was lovely actually being here and engaging with you all. Hopefully, you guys found it interesting. I can see here in chat that a lot of you have said that you are tactical in your CRO. So I really am excited to connect with you later, whether on LinkedIn or on YouTube or really any platform, and hear more about how you run tests and learn more about what you do. So I love it. It's a great conference, and thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Talia. So it was Talia who is giving the session on emotions in e-commerce. So after that, we have an activity plan that is decode the emojis, the e-commerce edition. So we will be back within like 1 to 2 minutes, and we have the activity, and it is your chance to win some amazing prizes by interacting in the activities. We have a leaderboard as well, so you can interact during the event, and you can be on the top of the leaderboard. So I will be back within few minutes for the activity.